For over a decade, the Long Island serial killer case, also known as the Gilgo Beach murders, has haunted investigators, families, and the public. 10 bodies, a trail of unanswered questions, and a killer who seemed to vanish like smoke. But now, new evidence has surfaced. Evidence that could finally bring this cold case out of the shadows. Tonight, we're going to revisit the story, piece by piece, victim by victim, lead by lead, and we'll uncover what this new evidence means and why it just might change everything. It began like many haunting stories do by accident. December 2010. A police officer searching for a missing woman named Shannan Gilbert, a 24-year-old escort who had vanished after a frantic 911 call, walked the sandy stretches of Gilgo Beach with his cadaver dog. What he expected to find was one missing woman. What he found instead was horror. Wrapped in burlap, the remains of 24-year-old Melissa Barthélemy lay hidden among the weeds and dunes. Within days, police uncovered 3 more sets of remains in nearly identical conditions. All young women, all sex workers, all bound by eerie similarities. And just like that, the Gilgo Beach murders erupted into the public consciousness. Over the following months, more discoveries would shock Long Island. In total, 10 sets of remains were linked to the case. 4 of them became known as the Gilgo Four: Melissa Barthélemy, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello. Each of them had disappeared while working as escorts. Each of them found along the same quarter-mile stretch of beach, wrapped in burlap, discarded like secrets someone desperately wanted to bury. But as the list of victims grew, the mystery deepened. Not every body matched the same profile. Some were older, some younger, some dismembered. The chilling question arose: was this the work of one killer, or multiple? Through the years, suspicion shifted like the tide. A disgraced police chief, James Burke, drew attention after he was convicted of covering up a violent assault. His corruption led many to believe he had interfered with the investigation. Then there was Dr. Peter Hackett, a local physician who inserted himself into the search for Shannan Gilbert. He had allegedly called Shannan's mother after her disappearance, raising suspicions. And of course, there were whispers of unknown clients, secret police involvement, and shadowy figures hiding in plain sight. But every lead hit the same wall: no proof. Years passed. Families mourned. Detectives burned out. And the case, once explosive, grew cold. Until 2022. An investigative task force reopened the Gilgo files with fresh eyes and modern technology. They re-examined phone records. They pulled DNA from old evidence. They tracked digital footprints left behind in the shadows of Craigslist and burner phones. And slowly, a name began to surface: Rex Heuermann, a 59-year-old Manhattan architect, married, father of 2, owner of a quiet home in Massapequa Park, less than 20 miles from Gilgo Beach. Outwardly, he was ordinary, forgettable. But behind the walls of his home, investigators allege he harbored a chilling double life. July 2023. After years of silence, police moved in. Heuermann was arrested outside his office in Midtown Manhattan. Shock rippled across the city. His co-workers, his neighbors, even his family seemed stunned. But detectives weren't surprised. They had been watching him for months. Burner phones linked to his name. Internet searches involving violent fantasies. DNA evidence from hair found on the burlap used to wrap victims. The pieces had aligned. Authorities charged Heuermann with the murders of 3 women: Melissa, Megan, and Amber, and named him the prime suspect in the death of Maureen. But here's where the case takes a darker turn. Because now, in 2024, investigators have uncovered new evidence. Search warrants of Heuermann's home revealed chilling items. Over 200 firearms, many illegally obtained. Soundproof rooms in the basement. A stash of burner phones and fake IDs. And most disturbingly, a vast digital archive of violent pornography and disturbing fantasies. Even more damning, DNA from Heuermann's family was compared against hairs found at multiple crime scenes. The matches tied back directly to his household. But what truly unsettled investigators was a pattern hidden in his internet searches. He wasn't just revisiting old news about the Gilgo murders. He was actively researching how police tracked killers, how evidence was tested, how long DNA could last on burlap under sand. It was as though he was obsessed, not just with the crimes but with the investigation itself. And yet, the story doesn't end there. For every piece of damning evidence, there are still unanswered questions. Why do some of the victims not fit the pattern? Why were some dismembered while others carefully wrapped? Could Rex Heuermann be responsible for all the murders? Or was there another predator operating in the shadows at the same time? Some investigators believe the Gilgo Beach case may hold more than one killer. That Heuermann may be guilty, but not alone. True, that means the story is far from over. Through all of this, one truth remains. Behind the headlines, behind the court hearings and evidence files, are families. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, children. Melissa Barthelomy's mother once said, asterisk, the hardest part isn't the murder. It's the not knowing. The silence. Asterisk. For these families, every piece of new evidence is both hope and heartbreak. Hope that justice is closer. Heartbreak that it took this long. And for Shannan Gilbert's family, the young woman whose disappearance started this entire investigation, the questions are even heavier. Her death was officially ruled an accident. But was it? Or was she another victim of the Long Island serial killer? Rex Heuermann now faces trial. His defense insists he's innocent, that the evidence is circumstantial, that someone else could be responsible. But prosecutors believe they finally have the man who terrorized Long Island. And as new evidence continues to surface, the world is watching. Because this case isn't just about one killer. It's about power, control, fear, and the horrifying possibility that sometimes the monsters we fear most live right next door. So what happens now? Will Rex Heuermann be convicted? Will the families finally get answers? Or will the shadows of Gilgo Beach continue to whisper secrets too dark to uncover? One thing is certain, the Long Island serial killer case will not fade quietly. And with each new discovery, each piece of evidence, each voice refusing to stay silent, we get closer to the truth. Because no matter how long it takes, the truth always finds a way to rise.